Okay. Yay, awesome. It's playing. Okay. So this is my audience, and there's still people in the office, so you may hear background noise. There you go.
Camera go, camera go, camera go.
Okay. I would find it safe to assume within the last hour you have touched something made of plastic. Living in San Diego, we all enjoy being so close to the ocean, and we are lucky to have a place to escape the heat. But when you go to enjoy the ocean, have you ever looked around and seen the litter that's left behind? We closely contribute to the impact we all have on the ocean. I will discuss the current state of the ocean. Then I will explain the result of our actions that have led us to this point. We can expect, or what we can expect, if we do not take action. Lastly, I will provide efforts we can take to help stop ocean pollution. Let's begin with the problem at hand. Our oceans are severely being contaminated by chemicals and trash waste. Plastics have become a way to make our lives easier. It is cheap and meant to made to last. But when leading to our oceans, can lead to disaster. Michael Rosen, who wrote Plastic Soup, mentioned plastic pretty much lurks on every corner of the planet, which I agree. I encourage you to take a walk down the street and try to see if you can spot plastic trash littered on the floor. In a report from Oceana in 2020, they found plastic can be found digested by 90% of marine life at this point, whereas the rest of the population were entangled in it. Just to open your eyes as to how the ocean affects our daily life, did you know that actually 70% of Earth's oxygen is created from the ocean? Thanks to phytoplankton, a kelp plant growing on the ocean floor, whereas the rainforest only makes up about 20% of it. Now, one of my most shocking discoveries is the Grand Pacific Garbage Patch. Think of a floating island twice the size of Texas and 3 times the size of France. Now, this is only one of 5 garbage patches. This one just happens to be the closest to us. This accumulating mass of trash was just floating around for years. Well, now that we all know a little more about the severity of the situation, the only solution to the problem starts with us. By being aware, you can take steps to lessen plastic disposal. Once you have become self-aware, we can become advocates for our ocean and make conversations with those close to us to encourage a chain reaction. Don't we all want to leave a world where we don't have to worry about the depletion of oxygen, where fish are going extinct due to living conditions? Imagine walking down the streets full of microplastics and in the air. Those are living conditions we are submitting marine life to. Whales are gigantic mammals who help fertilize the phytoplankton. You may not know this, but their defecation accounts for 2 million tons of carbon being removed from the atmosphere. Let's see. Now let's consider how a whale eats. Basically, they filter water constantly through their mouths. It is very saddening to think of a mammal who contributes a great deal to clean air that we breathe, consuming large fragments of plastic and pounds of other waste like fishing nets and rope. So how can we be proactive to make a change? Let's start by thinking about plastic bags. Since the new California laws have been put in place, have you been using reusable plastic bags? We have cut down on 40 million pounds of plastic waste each year since 2016. we can cut down on a single plastic items. One good example is here in our office, we make a few Starbucks runs a week. We can simply use reusable straws and cups. Being aware and making conscious purchases like face wash. Some of them contain exfoliating beads that is just microplastics that lead straight to the ocean. One thing we can do is simply clean up after ourselves. Whether you are at the beach or at the park, please clean up any trash that may or may not be yours because it will eventually go down storm drains. I know this may seem like it need not be mentioned, but we can all make a huge impact by simply recycling. This is one action that single-handedly cuts down on pollution so that we can harvest raw material to make new items, saves energy and cuts down on our greenhouse gas usage. And we can prevent these resources from landing in our landfills. I brought to light our current issue with plastic, waste in the ocean's role in our environment, and actions we can do to help aid our pandemic of plastics polluting our oceans. There are so many more resources we can create from the sea, like energy, resources, and medicinal creations. Thinking about how our actions impact our futures is easy to do when it is like a pandemic and in our faces everywhere we go. Well, so is plastic trash we contribute to, but because the ocean is sadly not yelling at us in our face, to be more careful does not mean that it can be ignored. We should be looking in ways to relieve and prevent this rather than trying to fix it after the damage is already done. Thank you.
Good job, good job, good job.